There are places so unreal, they're hidden from every tourist map. Even the locals can't believe they exist. No path to follow, no name to remember. Just a turn in the mist that only appears once you stop looking. I came when the sky felt heavy, not chasing wonder, just following a gut feeling I couldn't explain. An old man passed me on the ridge. He didn't speak, just raised his eyes toward the fog and vanished like breath in winter. No signs, no warnings, only a silence that felt older than language. At the third breath, the cold touched bone. At the fifth, I lost track of time. By the ninth, I wasn't sure who was breathing anymore. Me or the mountain. What stood in front of me had no name in science, no place in any travel documentary. This wasn't just part of unseen China. It was something deeper. A place that hides itself until it decides you're ready. And if you stay quiet enough, you just might see what I saw. I used to think snow and ice were only for the strong. But then I stood in a valley completely blanketed in white and realized sometimes it's the cold that holds you most gently. Hailuogou Glacier lies at the base of Mount Gonga, also known as the King of Sichuan's mountains. It stretches nearly 7.5 miles, plunges close to 1,000 feet deep, and remains one of the few surviving glaciers from China's last ice age. Temperatures here range from 18 degrees Fahrenheit in winter to 68 degrees Fahrenheit in summer, creating a landscape that feels like a contradiction. The most astonishing thing, right in the heart of the glacier, you'll find hot springs. And locals say, when ice and warm water exist together, it's nature's way of reminding you nothing inside you is wrong, not even your contradictions. I didn't see snow falling, just thick fog, and the soft cracking of ice, like someone quietly leaving, without closing the door. I walked alone across a thin layer of ice, a deep ravine below. No one walked near. Everything was too still. For a few minutes, I stopped thinking about where I had come from. I just walked. Then paused when I heard the faint trickle of water beneath the glacier. In that moment, I realized I had been carrying too many things that hadn't melted. And this place didn't say anything. It just melted them for me. Before leaving Hailuogou, I placed my hand in a hot spring beside the road. Not to wash, not to take anything back, just to make sure I could still feel. In my pocket, the white stone remained, and the grain of sand still dry. And then I remembered a place the locals had once described. If you've ever forgotten who you are, go to the mountain with the lake in the sky. It doesn't reflect the clouds, it reflects the things you once believed would last forever. I used to think lakes existed to reflect the sky. But there is one place that reflects nothing at all. And yet, I saw myself more clearly than ever before. Tianchi, literally heavenly lake, rests high in the Tianshan Mountains in the Xinjiang region of western China, at an elevation of over 5,500 feet. Surrounding it are ridges draped in snow year-round, cold, barren, and without a single tall blade of grass. The lake itself spans just 5.5 acres of surface water, but its concentration makes it feel like a single drop of clarity suspended between earth and sky. Centuries ago, caravans on the Silk Road would stop here to rest. And to the Kazakh people, this lake is home to an ancient spirit. Someone who once forgot their own name from too much sorrow. They forgot who they were. But the lake remembered and kept their name beneath the surface. Some say if you listen closely, when the wind moves across the water, you can hear a song. Not calling out to others, but whispering back to the part of you once left behind. I arrived at Tianchi one early morning, the fog so thick I couldn't see the edge of the lake. Somewhere along the path, I had drifted from the group. No voices, no footsteps. So I sat, right there, in a space that could have been water or cloud. And in that blur, I remembered something old. A time I once sat, just like this, at 16, after someone I loved had walked away. No one said anything. There was nothing to explain. Just me, sitting still, realizing maybe I hadn't disappeared after all. On the way down, I looked into the lake. And instead of my reflection, I saw the white stone the little girl had given me at Fanjingshan, resting quietly in my palm. I didn't remember taking it out. But as I slipped it back into my pocket, I thought, if a lake can hold what you've forgotten, then maybe somewhere out there, there's a place that can hold what you've never even dared to dream. They say, if you walk past the grasslands of the Kazakh people, you'll come to a meadow, so impossibly green, you'll start to wonder if you're still on Earth. There was a day I walked across a grassland so vast I couldn't tell east from west, north from south. And for the first time in my life, I felt afraid. Not because I was lost, but because there was no goal left to follow. Nalati grassland stretches across the southern mountain ranges of Xinjiang, near the border of Kazakhstan. Sitting at around 6,000 feet above sea level, it's known as the Grassland in the clouds. Spanning more than 370,000 acres with no fences, no markers, no boundaries. The grass here is so green it feels like the sky is growing beneath your feet. In summer, the wind runs strong, not cold, not hot. Just enough to move everything, even the thoughts you thought had settled long ago. The Kazakh people call this place Nalati, which means a land where dreams arrive without needing an invitation. They believe that if someone feels completely stuck, you should let them ride a horse into Nalati and not hold the reins. Let the horse lead. Because sometimes you're not the one who should be in control anymore. I walked for over 3 hours. No map, no questions. Now and then, a child on horseback would pass, not speaking, just smiling. Once I saw smoke curling from a distant yurt, but I didn't go near. It felt too real. So I sat down in the middle of the grassland, did nothing. Let the wind brush my wrists. Breathe in the faint scent of fermented milk, and listen to the soft clang of camel bells echoing from somewhere far off. Not to feel something, but to stop trying to feel it all. Before I left Nalati, I looked behind me. There were no footprints. Maybe the grass had already healed itself. In my pocket, the white stone was still there, the grain of sand still dry. And now, I picked up a single blade of grass, thin as a sigh. I never chose them, but the stone, the grain, the grass, somehow chose me. You might reach a place where nothing holds you, but everything you once left behind finds its way back to you. A place where people sit by a lake, not to fish, but just to listen to the sound of water breathing.